2023 was a big year for both the Crew and Need for Speed, and since I've covered both games in depth, I figured I'd try to wrap my brain around what 2024 looks like for both of these franchises. Let's go! Real quick before I get into the video, if you're looking for a community of racers to play with, join our Discord. There's a link in the description down below. That's also where I do all of my giveaways, and we have every topic in there from the Crew Motorfest, the Crew 2, to Need for Speed Heat, Need for Speed Unbound, everything Need for Speed, and all kinds of other racing games. There's over 14,000 members there, so hit that link and join us. All right, let's get into this. Alright, Need for Speed Unbound had a very lackluster launch, followed by harsh public reaction to the art direction of the game, along with lots of criticism about the in-game economy, lack of game modes, and PvP features. However, despite that, Criterion stuck with the game for the entire year, putting out 4 updates for the game, making it the most supported Need for Speed game in modern times. The current player base is basically brand new because most of the day one players have moved on to other titles like Motorfest, which I will talk about in a minute, or other genres like first-person shooters. I even dipped my toes into the Modern Warfare 3 pool. The people still playing Unbound are mostly players who recently bought the game or received it as a Christmas gift, but to the few players who have been playing since launch, I know you're out there, but you're definitely the exception to the rule. The point is, the player base is one that turns over every couple of months. Players get into the game, they play the campaign, maybe try out the multiplayer a little bit, and then find themselves asking the question, what do I do now? Which is usually answered by, find another game to play. And then when the game does go on sale, new groups of players come in and the process repeats. This has sort of been the status quo for the last few games. However, I think things are changing. Criterion seems to be holding on just a bit longer than anyone expected, and creator involvement in early access for Unbound was actually off the charts. Creators in EA's creator program receive very exclusive, unrestricted access to basically all of the volume updates a week before the general public, and were given multiple platforms to report feedback on, in addition to surveys after the fact via email. It was great. Also, we got a surprise update in December and a letter from Need for Speed Unbound's creative director saying they aren't done with the game yet. If you didn't hear about that, I'm sure you're probably shocked like I was when it happened. Anyways, they are obviously working on things behind the scenes, and it seems like their goal is to continue to update Unbound in 2024. And so I ask you, the players, what would it take to bring you back to Need for Speed Unbound? I'll go ahead and tell you what it would take for me, but I want to hear your answer to this in the comments, please. For me, as a player, not a content creator, because obviously I'm going to cover anything that comes out with this game because it's what I do for this channel. But for me to come back as a player and start having fun again, Criterion would need to add competitive PvP modes, preferably a ranked mode that allowed you to earn exclusive rewards and the ability to party up with at least 7 people. Now obviously, I don't have specifics on what that should look like, but competition is what drives me, so it would take something like that to pique my interests again. What I think will happen is they will make minor quality of life improvements to the game, release a couple more speed passes, and maybe introduce a few new cars, or maybe just some reskin cars that are already in the game alongside more paid DLC packs. I expect 6 more months of support, and then for Criterion to shift its focus to the next game in the franchise, which I hope to God isn't a remake of an old game. And speaking of old games, that's a perfect segue into the second topic of today's video, because Ivory Tower is still supporting the Crew 2 with new cars. The Crew 2 is what, 6 years old now, and it's still getting updates even after Motorfest has launched? It must still be making money on those vanity items. Anyways, the future of Crew Motorfest is what I really want to talk about, since it's really the future of this franchise. Motorfest had an absolutely monstrous launch. It was by far the most hyped up arcade racer in recent times, especially after everyone got a taste of the grand races in the beta. Anyways, it's been out for 17 weeks as of this video, and to be honest, it feels like it hasn't even hit its stride yet. The Summit rewards are basically just old Summit cars and vanities from the Crew 2, which I find to be irritating, but also very strategic. It seems like Ivory Tower and Ubisoft have a very detailed plan to try to keep players engaged in the Crew 2, at least for this next year, so I don't think we'll see big improvements to the Summit rewards in Motorfest until late summer or early fall, when they hopefully drop the support for the Crew 2, And I don't mean kill the game, they just need to stop making new things for it and just start rerunning all of the old summits. What I'd like to see in Motorfest is another addition to the map, or possibly the ability to travel to another island nearby to expand the variety of things to do and places to explore, and definitely they need to address the lack of PvP modes. The grand races are fun, but there needs to be a variety because many players, including myself, are getting bored with that format. The nice thing is, we know by what they did with the Hoonigan update, they aren't opposed to adding random islands to give players more room to drive. What we know we will get is big updates like the Hoonigan one at the beginning of March and the beginning of June. The June update should be the final update for the first year for this game, and we should see what year 2 looks like with the September update. In this upcoming March update, I'd really like them to focus hard on the PvP modes, including some sort of competitive drifting mode. Maybe an island like Hoonigan Island where competitive drifting takes place, and in the June update, we need a bigger focus on the progression system. Right now, you have a couple of rewards early in the legend track each month, and then the titles at the very end, which are cool, but there's not really anything in between. I'd like to see vanities added to that legend track, or possibly ways to earn CC. It would be nice to reward the players who spent the most time in the game, and I think that's the perfect place to do it. I'd also like to see another big collaboration, like say a Hot Wheels themed season, with crazy Hot Wheels cars added to the game. But you know, with Motorfest physics. Anyways, I think it's time for me to turn this over to you guys. Put your predictions in the comment section just in case Ivory Tower is watching or listening. It's definitely going to help out. It seems like they have eyes and ears on the community, so the more you can talk about what you want and do it constructively in these comments, the more we actually might get that stuff. Now, if you'd like to support the channel in a huge way, consider subscribing. I've just opened memberships so you can join and get exclusive perks like sneak peeks at all the upcoming videos, members only community posts and polls, and a 20% off coupon to the Shitbox t-shirt store. And that's a store that my wife and I had started. We actually make these shirts ourselves. Anyway, there's a link in the description for that. Thank you so much for watching. I will catch you on the next one. Trigger out.